Great show.
Plus, because it was the 80s, you could do some mildly sexist and racist stuff. So you had Quick Kick, who was a Chinese guy, but he was a ninja. Oh my goodness. In recent news, Trump has just appointed Jake Paul as Secretary of Housing and Urban Development.
Oh man, if only we had a force like G.I. Joe existing today.
You don't know what an influence this cartoon was on me growing up.
Or what an influence it was on me growing up.
I mean 5, 6-year-old me in 1983 watching G.I. Joe. Man, this was the coolest shit I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Trouble Bubbles and the Sky Raiders and all this cool shit and these awesome villains. I was hooked. It was immediately.
Yes.
Immediately.
Growing up in the 80s as we did, it was G.I. Joe, it was Transformers, it was... we had like a handful of things, and then you had all the rip-off stuff that came out with it, like GoBots.
GoBots and Silverhawks and Mask.
Yeah. So there was a lot of stuff that we loved, but none of it really hit the level of G.I. Joe.
G.I. Joe and Transformers, that was my shit.
Right, so today we're going to talk about G.I. Joe. We'll go back to Transformers later, but... Dang, G.I. Joe.
I can't remember specifically when I was done with it, but I have to say it was shortly around this time. Really?
I loved this movie. I think I've seen this cartoon movie, 30, 40, 50 times. I loved it.
Because to me, they had some cool characters. Like Beachhead was awesome.
Yep.
To me, G.I. Joe always was the two teams. It was Duke and Cobra Commander.
Yeah.
Duke and his team and Cobra Commander and his flunkies. Yeah, here we go. And then they changed it. Now you've got General Hawk and Serpentor and Globulus. I don't care about these characters.
If you watched every episode and you followed along, I don't know, part of it kind of felt like progression, but it also really felt like we have to sell more toys. So, yeah. But they did it so well in the 80s. Think about this, all right? Growing up, I needed to own every toy. I needed every single one of those freaking figures. And I wanted the Trouble Bubbles. I wanted everything.
Sure, so you could recreate the scenes in your bedroom.
Exactly. Does that happen with modern cartoons? Do kids rush to the toy store because they need to own the latest toys from cartoons today? Because I don't think it happens.
I'm trying to think with my kids.
Not like this.
My kids are still young, and the last crazy toy fad that we went through was Shopkins. Think of an everyday item in your house.
Thing is always worth it.
Knowing was half the battle.
Knowing was half the battle.
A time for the bus ride. Fun time there, a time for the bus ride. No!
G.I. Joe! G.I. Joe!
Nothing like that exists anymore. Now people will be like, oh, that's so cringe.
Even He-Man, yeah. At the end, He-Man and Orko would be like, in today's episode, we explored gay sex. What's gay sex, He-Man? Sometimes two men like to penetrate each other.
Were you the one telling me that Skeletor was like a little bit better ripped than He-Man was?
Skeletor's jacked, man.
He was more. Like He-Man was a little bit more bloated. He was a little bit more.
He was open class bodybuilding. Skeletor was more classic physique, and I think that's where it would put that shit in my head. Like, no, whoa. You look ridiculous, man. Stick with Skeletor. Plus, I don't know why there was a few shows. G.I. Joe was one of them, believe it or not. Never with Transformers. Optimus Prime was my boy. I loved him.
Sure.
But Skeletor, for some reason, I always rooted for the villains to win in He-Man.
You weren't alone.
I wanted Skeletor to win. I wanted Evil Lynn to show her tits just once.
For me, in G.I. Joe, actually, I dug Cobra Commander. Yes. I thought Cobra Commander was awesome. I was really disappointed with what happened to him in this movie. And Cobra Commander's evil plans were always like, we're going to pollute the river with dirty diapers. What terror we've...
And Destro would just be saying, this man is an idiot. Like Major Blood. This is my favorite character. Whoa, an Australian mercenary. That's freaking sweet. He should win.
Yeah.
Zartan, Master of Disguise and Spy. That is so cool.
And I love the fact that he was neutral. He didn't really care. Whoever paid him the most, he was going to,
As he would say, I don't care, Cobra Commander. I get paid by the hour.
Yeah. It was a great show.
Plus, because it was the 80s, you could do some mildly sexist and racist stuff. So you had Quick Kick, who was a Chinese guy, but he was a ninja. And you had Apache Chief who was or Spirit, and he would have magic Indian powers that could commune with the animals. Like, the fuck are you doing? And he'd look like this ridiculous Apache Chief from a 70s Indian movie. So dumb.
It was so ridiculous. But then you had like characters like Snake Eyes, who was so iconic.
Yeah.
He never said a word. He was basically like the Boba Fett of G.I. Joe. You know, he was.
Yeah.
He never talked.
He just looked cool, so everybody liked him.
Kicked ass. Had that awesome sword.
Yeah.
It was so cool. And these are things that you can't really recreate this in real life. They've tried. It doesn't work.
Now, when they did the movie, and they obviously this was supposed to be a big event. They spent money on it and did it properly.
Yeah.
If you go back and watch the old cartoons now, this especially true with Transformers, the production quality was so poor.
Oh, yeah.
So very piss poor. I mean, frames would be out of sequence and the sound wasn't synced. You'd have jump cuts in the middle. It was just awfully produced.
Yes.
But you didn't even notice.
No.
But now you do.
Yeah. I will also say this. If you go back and watch any cartoon from the 80s, any of them, this is even true for like Robotech and stuff like that. If you go back and watch them, the background sound, the music never stops.
Yeah.
You never get a moment of silence. It is constant noise.
Yeah.
It will give you a migraine.
That's why your mom would always bust in, shut that shit off!
Unless it was He-Man. She would sit and watch He-Man.
Oh, really?
She dug He-Man.
She could follow it probably more easily.
Probably. I'm going to say that and not the fact that she had a thing for big muscular guys. She just understood the story better.
Yeah, I mean, she didn't have to speak English to piece together a villain doing villain shit.
Yeah.
Hero doing hero shit. Got it. Let's let this unfold.
It's very easy. G.I. Joe was a little bit more difficult to follow. Everybody looked the same to her.
Why he build a machine change weather?
So
That's stupid.
what, he shrink the statue, make it small.
It's stupid. So?
I don't know, but He-Man was easier to follow.
Yeah.
The bad guys all look like monsters, and the good guys all look pretty. So
Why this girl Evelyn no short tits?
hey, in the comments, if you can find any porn that actually shows that, let us know.
You think they did a G.I. Joe XXX parody?
I'm sure of it.
Let's see.
You know where you can look?
Joe.
And this will lead into something else kind of funny. We were talking about toys and franchises that have toys. Did you know for Wicked, there are toys? And did you know on the box they accidentally put you can learn more at wicked.com?
Yeah, I know.
Not Wicked Movie, which is where the actual site
Video,
is.
yeah.
Wicked.
By the way, yes, they did. Sorcerer. Bring it here, Baroness. Or should I say Baron Ass?
It's always going to be Baroness. She was the hottest character
She
in the
was
show.
fantastic, yeah.
She was the hottest character in the show.
Yep, my whole goth girl fetish came from her, man. She was a German leather fetishist. Come on. Impressionable me. I'm like, done. That's it. Let's go. That's what I want.
The G.I. Joe cartoon movie came out after the Transformers movie, and in the Transformers movie, when they killed off Optimus Prime, everybody was so devastated. I mean, some of us still
Let's
have
do an episode
trauma
about
from
that.
Well, we will. We'll come back to that. But because of what happened from there,
Yeah.
in this movie, Duke was supposed to die.
Oh, right. Yeah.
But then they came back, Duke's in a coma, because they couldn't redraw it. They'd already drawn it.
No, it was already finished. It was in post-production. They had to bring a guy back in Foley, and the lips
Yeah,
going
the lips
back.
going back.
The last scenes. By the way, I got word from the hospital. Duke's out of his coma. He's going to be A-okay.
Everybody says, yay!
Roll credits.
And there's like no one even speaking that line.
So, there you go.
All right. Love to know what you think. Do you remember G.I. Joe the cartoon? Do you have fond memories of it? Have you never seen it? Maybe this is completely new to you.
If all you know of G.I. Joe is a stupid Bruce Willis and Rock the Dwayne Johnson bullshit,
For fuck's sake.
you missed out, man.
You missed out big time, because this, man, growing up in the 80s, there was just nothing better than
Time
this.
to be 7 years old, man.
Right?
Shit.
Man. All right. You know what to do. Like, share, comment, subscribe.
Yeah, dudes.
We'll see you in another episode.
Yeah.
Later. Yo, Joe!
Yo, blow.